I think large conferences are going to be dying out. And the reason for that, I think they're going to be replaced with more personalized, intimate masterminds. And just let me explain why. Right out of COVID, a lot of people. Right now, I help large businesses monetize, or I help them grow their audience so they can monetize it. But I'm working with pretty large businesses, and a lot of them have conferences, and they've been going really well. But I know a lot of other people in the conference space, and it is really tanking, mainly because they aren't getting any views online like they used to, because there's a lot more competition. I have not seen that issue. We're actually seeing really good numbers, but I still think that those conferences are going to be starting to dip down substantially. And the reason for that, in my opinion, is people don't want to just be another figure. Be, they don't want to go to a 2,000 person mastermind and have some sort of just listening to 12 different speakers that they listen to on YouTube already for free. I think people want the exclusivity and they want much more hands on working directly with the people. So I think like 10 to 20 person exclusive conferences that are, let's say, a higher ticket price, but those are going to be a lot more in demand. And you end up having the same profit margins on them because those big conferences, there's a lot of expenses that go into it. The small, more intimate ones, you're going directly with the person that you want to see and you want to talk to, you want to have a relationship with the person that you see online a lot. And there's something directly that you want to learn from them. For example, Ken, the guy that I'm at his office right now, I work with him. He has a large real estate company with over 10,000 apartments. He just had a large event. It blew out ticket numbers, but that's just because we 20x the YouTube views, or that's one of the main components as to why we saw such a rise in sales. But from a profit perspective, it's not incredible. It makes money. It makes quite a bit of money, but it doesn't make astronomical amounts of money, even if you get 2,000 people there, because there's so many costs involved. I think he would make the exact same amount of profit, if not more, if he had a 20-person event and charged $15,000, where you're going to go to his office and you're going to learn exactly what you have to do to scale your business to what Ken's done, to where he runs a $2 billion company in 90 minutes per week. And then you get to go to his 5-star resort up in Sedona, and you guys can take helicopters and do something cool for this, let's say, 3-4 day week where you're learning exactly what Ken's done. If you're in real estate and you have a business and you're trying to take it from, let's say, 100 million to a billion, there's no one better on earth to learn from than Ken. And so you're trying to find a small group of people to solve a quasi-specific problem. Most people in business would get extreme value to how Ken runs his business. And so there would be a substantial amount of people who would pay for that, a lot more demand and very low supply of things like that going on. Of course, that's unique because Ken's an outlier person. I only work with those types of people. I also think the experience of the people paying for that, let's say, $15,000 ticket price would be super high, because they would actually be spending all day, every day with Ken. And then with, let's say, 14 other people who are super high net worth, Ken brings in some of his friends who are doing similar things. You get the exclusivity and everything that you want along with it that you don't get at a big conference that you're actually going there looking for. I mean, you can get a VIP ticket. You don't build as good of a relationship as when you do something much more intimate, though. And I just know from personal experience, when I go to those smaller masterminds or events, I find them to be much more fulfilling, rewarding. Those types of people, I actually end up making lifelong friends that I hang out with a lot more outside of uh, just that conference. We travel together, we text very frequently, because when you spend all day, every day together with 15 people, you get to have a super close relationship with them and with the person that you're actually going there to see. And another thing is what happened during COVID. Everybody decided to start an online community that had an audience, because they said, well, people, they want the community aspect. So they watch my channel. Let's build a community where these people who all want to be a part of the community can do that via online. And there's a ton of supply of people doing that. And in my opinion, I don't think that actually builds that strong of a community. It's one thing when you're talking to someone on Zoom versus having dinner with them. it is such a better relationship when you're actually with someone face to face, building connections that you are talking to in person. That is my massive preference. And I don't know many people who join one of those, let's say, communities that then built their network and their friends around those people that they built, that they knew online. Now, in rare occasions, it happens, but it's incredibly frequent when you go to these small, niche down mastermind type of things. And so, if you're looking at it from like a probability standpoint. Another thing is the bifurcation of the economy, where the rich people are making more and more and more money. So they're willing to pay $15,000 for a product. And the people who can only afford $1,000 for a ticket, they can no longer afford that. So you want to be able to service those people who can afford the higher ticket items. I also think they would just get a much better customer experience, and they would learn a lot more, because Ken could not bring 2,000 people and show them exactly what he's done with his company, but he could do that with 15. And this is just one example. I think this is going to be happening a lot. You're also going to be finding your super core fan base who wants to learn from you directly. So it's kind of like mentoring. And is it worth paying a $1 billion real estate company, or the guy who runs it, $15,000 to get directly mentored from him? I mean, in my opinion, yes, especially for the value that they are actually doing here at the company. I mean, most of these people, if they were in a position where they have a large business and they were looking to take it to 9 figures per year, there's not many people in the world that are better to learn from than Ken, because he runs a really, really, really good company. And these are just very, very, like, this is just a specific example of where I think monetization of audiences are going. This is just one avenue. I don't think, and this is pretty an unpopular opinion because everyone's starting these school communities. I don't think the best way to monetize an audience going forward is just going to be starting some sort of digital online community and then trying to sell them at $100 a month or whatever the ticket price is, and then selling courses around that. That's past. You have to look into the future as to what's coming, and this is what I think is coming. That is one example. I think a lot of physical products is also going to be happening, and some other things that I think are interesting, but I'm not going to go into in this video. I really think there's an epidemic of all these kind of growth operators who they'll help a influencer who they're starting to get views, and then they do some sort of big product launch. They'll do some sort of webinar, back end funnels. I mean, basic marketing things that a lot of people do, and then build them some sort of online community. And then they say, well, we're going to sign up 1,000 people at $100 a month. We're going to be making millions of dollars. Yeah, in a lot of cases, I mean, that's what's happened for the past 3 or 4 years. But I think you have to look past the into the future. Where is all this online stuff heading? I don't know many people who get extreme value from those online communities. You get value, but you can literally get anything you want online for free. And everyone knows that. It is completely democratized. You can find anything you want online for free. What you can't get is the in-person relationship, which is what actually moves the needle when you have a business. If you have nothing started, I mean, that could help you because it's going to exceed your learning curve. But if you are quasi developed in anything, that does not help. What helps is building connections and learning like real tactics. There's overall strategy, and then there's more tactical things. And the tactics is what makes me the most money now. When I learn something very niche down and small, that drives a ton of revenue. And a small example of this was just like a Russell Brunson value stack on top of a webinar, and that generated hundreds of thousands of dollars for me, at least for me and my clients. That's just a small tactic that in the hands of someone random, they would have no clue what to do with it. So that's not a strategy. That is what you implement, a part of your overall strategy. And you don't do it every time. It's just a small tactic that drives a bunch of revenue. But when you already have something developed, these little tactics is kind of drives a ton of revenue, at least in my opinion, from what I've seen based upon personal experience. So how do you take advantage of this? I actually think it's easier if you're a subject matter a subject matter expert on a certain subject. So because I don't take my YouTube channel seriously, but let's say I taught people everything I knew about how to grow online for what I do for my clients. What I would do is I would have a 20-person mastermind and charge $10,000, let's say. So what's that, $200,000? And it's going to be like an intense workshop with a lot of fun things at some sort of place where you bring in 20 people. And if I was doing 2 million views a month, it would be easy to get 20 people to do that if they were interested. This would be for large businesses who they want to grow on YouTube, or for people who are interested in a similar business model or doing something similar. Those are kind of the two avatars. But if you're getting a lot of views, and I mean, I would be able to sell that out not from my YouTube channel, but from my network, because there's infinite amounts of people of large businesses that I've turned down asking to work with me who would say, dude, anything that you have, I want to be a part of it because you've shown such good results for these guys. And most of them are their friends. So for me, it would be easy because of my network, but it comes down to getting views online. And it will be explicitly clear when I change my strategy from just talking shit to a camera to trying to get a lot of views, because it's going to be a massive increase in production quality. I don't think another thing where I think if you're looking at where's all this stuff going versus where it is today, I don't think sit down one-to-one camera is what's going to be getting the most views on online over the future. I think things need to be a lot more produced from a version of entertainment. A video is never too long, it's just too boring. And this is very boring. If you really care what I have to say, if you already know me or know the credibility that I have or have something that you want, then you'll listen to it. But if I was doing this with a bunch of different avenues, and I'm not talking about just editing in the background, but having different scenes, planning this out more, having different locations, making the same style video, but structured in a way throughout, let's say it's throughout my day, that would be a better way to approach this, where scene one is me in the car talking, scene two is somewhere else. That way you get different avenues of entertainment. And this will really only make sense if you understand how important viewer satisfaction and retention is for videos, because most people click off when a video is getting boring. So how do you maximize the value in a video in the most entertaining way possible? I mean, these are the questions that I ask myself for my clients to help them get a lot more views. And they're such outlier people, it's quite easy. But I'm always thinking, where are things going so you can get on top of it and create something that hasn't really been done before? Because that's where this extreme asymmetry is. You can get a lot of value from being the one person who kind of copies everyone else, which is easy. I personally, the person who starts the trend is actually the one who gets like the big apple though. And that's what I'm always thinking about, because I'm so in the weeds on this, because I have so many clients, I get to try so many things out. So my learning curve gets so much faster and I get to adapt. When something's not working, I can see. And when it is, I get to see that as well. And then I can double, triple down on that with everybody. And this is just, in my opinion, where I think the trends are heading for the maximum way to monetize, especially a smaller audience when you're super niche down. But in general, I don't think those big conferences are going to be that important. And then the competition for people's attention is getting infinitely higher because so many people see the importance of starting an online brand. The competition for making it good or actually getting attention is exponentially harder than it was. So you have to do something that sets yourself apart. Either you have to have a very unique angle on something and have some sort of direct skill set, or you have to know a lot about the production and how do you actually make something entertaining that's otherwise not. And I mean, these are just brief thoughts. I could go on to this for 44 hours. I don't have time because I'm getting back to work, about to be recording with Ken, I think right now.